Come on in and grab a drink. Talk about anything. Grab a cigar, just sit right down, all family here. Let's go! Welcome to the show. Drinks and Dave. Drinks and Dave. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Hey, and welcome to Drinks and Daves, or in this case, Caffeine and Dave.
Woo!
So we almost had some technical difficulties earlier.
Yeah, it's probably AI. Probably doesn't want us to succeed, Dave.
Yeah, it was
We're
odd.
too close to the sun.
That's it. Do you know there's a song flying, Alan Parsons, Flying Too Close to the Sun. It's actually a very good song.
Yeah, that's right.
Hello, Linda. Hello, Stephen. Hello, Tig Lily. Well, that's pretty much everybody. It's going to be like a couch talk today. What are you drinking tonight?
You know what? I grabbed.
It better be coffee. It better be coffee.
Oh, right. Yeah. Then I am having coffee. What are you drinking, Dave?
I
reached for a single cask series of Highland Park. This one's called the Nords of NorCal.
So it's got a
Look
coffee
how dark
flavor.
that is.
It's got a coffee flavor.
It probably has coffee notes, you could say, with the dark.
Well, I am drinking a toffee latte from my Breville machine in our Drinks and Dave's mug.
With the toffee syrup?
Yeah, the sugar-free stuff, the sweet drops, what they call it. Yeah, this is a quadruple shot, a quadruple shot, half the syrup, with half and half. And this is my fourth quad shot of the day, so I'm like, I'm doing okay.
So obviously,
I knew we were going to talk about coffees.
We're jumping forward, but caffeine obviously doesn't affect you too much.
Not at all. I can go to sleep after I drink 6 cups of coffee. It doesn't matter. Hello,
Same
Eric.
with me. I don't get that. I get hot when I have too much caffeine. Like couple. Yeah, my whole body gets warm.
Really?
But I could go to sleep. Yeah.
Well, based on our conversations earlier this week, I'm sure that Tig Lily will love that. Shall we? Yeah. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of the show, let's go ahead and discuss that. We had a little bit of a creative difference earlier in the week because everybody else in the country decided at some point back in the 1800s.
Not everybody. It's a democracy, right? What the hell do we call our government?
Representative Republic.
Right.
But we know how politicians are. They're stupid. So somewhere along the line,
it was back when the poor children were slave labor and worked on the farms.
Yeah, but right. So they can't have a torch and walk in the dark. I mean, come on,
wusses, right? Yeah.
So I think it was 1812 or somewhere around in there. Arizona said, you know what? Shove it up your patootie. We're not going to change our clocks anymore. So we're the only state. Well, I take that back. There was Eastern Indiana. No, Eastern Indiana actually didn't do it for a while, but then they couldn't figure it out. So we are the only state in the union that does not partake in daylight savings time, except for a little tiny corner up on the top in the Navajo Indian Reservation on the corner of Utah. So,
you know, what's weird is way back when they decided to do this, it's an interesting thought that they said, hey, let's change what time it is versus, hey, let's go to school an hour earlier.
Hey, well,
right?
There's my point. And the thing is,
you know why? They didn't have microwaves. If they had microwaves that they had to reset the time on, they wouldn't have done this.
Well, see, the thing, like, torches scare the cows.
True.
But, you know, the thing is, so in the summer months here, since we don't change our time zone, it's still 9 o'clock when the sun goes down. I mean, it's late by the time we get to sunset. So Dave and I had a conversation, and I honestly had thought I thought I was correct, and I admitted it later that, well, I didn't admit, I was forced to admit it later, that we were going to be, because normally during the winter months or non-daylight savings time, when everybody is on standard time like we are all the time, we go on at 6 o'clock, which is 5 o'clock Dave's time. Well, I had argued, let's just stay at 6 o'clock. Dave said, no, we changed this 2 years ago where we switched to 5 o'clock. I threw a tantrum. I came home and I'm like, I'm sticking to my guns on this. And my wife goes, Dave, don't do that. Be nice. Let the Wookiee win. Let the Wookiee win. And she said, let the Wookiee win. So I
So wait, is
acquiesced.
that nice?
Well,
Does she
I don't
like the
know.
Wookiee or no?
She likes the Wookiee. She
Okay.
likes the Wookiee. Well, well, the thing is, that's probably the only thing she remembers from Star Wars is let the Wookiee win during that chess
a big
match.
hairy guy.
And I'm sure she's gonna pipe in there. So we are at 5 p.m., which I feel like it's the middle of the afternoon, but I got my way because our Sunday Zoom calls are at 4 o'clock my time. That's never going to change. So there. So there. So anyhow,
as long as you got to bend somebody to your will at some point.
well, the thing
things
is,
are okay.
I was really surprised because, in most cases, the wife will usually stick up for the husband. But in Tig Lily's case, it was let the Wookiee win. So anyhow, what are you smoking, by the way?
I am smoking a St. Francis All Saints. Have you tried these? These are delicious. This is part of the ones I found when I asked our buddies.
Is that the Tabernacle Company?
I don't
Say people
know.
that pay Tabernacle.
I don't know. It doesn't say a company on here.
I think it is
All Saints Fine Cigars.
Nice, huh?
But it's one of the ones when I asked for chocolatey tasting cigars. This is what I got. Or coffee flavor. If you squint.
Actually,
like
there is a coffee flavored one. Nub makes a Java, a
know
mocha Java.
you had it, or you had something that was coffee, and I've thought about getting.
It's not bad. It's a little sweet. I am smoking a Padron 1926 because it goes great with coffee. And it's the only one I had in the humidor.
And getting looping. I've got something to ask you before we get deep into coffee. But looping back to coffee, you like hot coffee with cigars?
Yes.
You think they pair? I've tried it. I can't do that, and it's weird though because iced coffee with just a splash of milk, that seems great with a cigar to me. But hot coffee, I can't do with a cigar.
Really?
I don't know.
I can do it. Yeah. I can do it. And as a matter of fact, now that I think about it, I forgot that I have some Stoke iced coffee in the refrigerator, and I forgot about it. So maybe I'll have that with dinner tonight. Since it's 5 o'clock, we won't eat dinner for an hour at least.
You missed the senior citizen early bird special.
That's exactly my AARP card's going. What the heck?
The blue plate sold out by the time you get down to the Bob Evans.
But you know what? That showed. See, okay, two things that just showed your age: Bob Evans and blue plate special. and I'm not really even old enough to remember what was the deal with the blue plate. Why blue?
Well, I don't think I ever had it. I know I was young enough to remember being talked about.
But what is the blue plate special? Is it a blue plate? Is it, you
tell me. Didn't you go there?
No. We used to go to Kmart and we used
the blue light special,
so we could go get the submarine sandwiches from Kmart. They were the best. And I've got a copy. Oh, and the reason what made them so good is they made them and they wrapped them in this really tight cellophane, which probably outcast into but they were so good. And I've got a recipe for them.
So I have a question for you before we get into the coffee.
That's two. That means that's two then.
Two questions?
You said you had a question, then this is the second one.
Oh. No, I was just giving you a hard time about missing your early dinner special before. So I'll answer this, but I was somewhere else earlier this week, and this thing jumped into my mind as clear as day, that if I were to win the lottery and start a foundation, like Bill Gates set up the Gates Foundation, decided what could cure malaria, whatever he did, this is how I'm going to use my money. If you had endless supplies of money and you were to set up a foundation to donate to a specific thing, what would you do?
The Alzheimer's Association. Case closed.
Yeah. Okay. That's
just, if I had that kind of money, Bill Gates money, I would do everything I could to find a way to alleviate Alzheimer's because it's just a horrible disease.
That's enough.
And then I would give the rest of it to Lefroy.
I would have a bottle named after me. Lefroy
How about
Dave
you?
Cask.
What about you?
So I decided what I would do. There's the poor people all over the place that I would help by buying Bluetooth headphones, because it's sad to walk around and see all these people talking on their speakerphone that obviously can't afford Bluetooth headphones. So I would go around the world handing out Bluetooth headphones to stop this whole speakerphone epidemic.
But see to me, that
Isn't that nice?
that philanthropic thing is not philanthropic. It's you're sick and tired of people going, instead of talking on the phone like, "Hello, Dave, how are you?" They go, "Can you hear me?
Right.
Can you? Can you?"
Right. I'm dying to learn the reason why this 4 inches is so hard. It's the last 4 inches, right? They can hold it here. They just can't hold it here.
You know, everybody complains about the last 4 inches. I know, you know, it's just.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, yeah, well, 2 birds, 1 stone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But okay, so obviously you and I both enjoy coffee. Now, we don't probably enjoy coffee as much as that.
Well, wait, do we enjoy it more?
No,
because it's not a drug to us.
Be careful. She's on your side, Mr. Wookie. No, but that is her drink of choice, where I drink Coke Zero or RC Zero or water. She drinks coffee. That's it. I don't know how many times I've actually seen her with water. Now, in her mind, coffee is water.
It's water.
It's
flavored water. Yeah,
exactly. But you enjoy coffee. How many cups a day would you say you drink? 1 in the morning?
1. Yep.
Yeah,
1 in the morning. That's it.
I drink 1 before, when I first get up. I make a Keurig, which we'll get into later. And then when I get to the shop, I have a percolator and I actually percolate my coffee. And that's pretty much it, unless I come home and do an iced coffee.
Now let's because we've got another 40 minutes to talk about coffee. When did you start drinking coffee? Do you remember?
I was young, probably 7 or 8. Because in Puerto Rico, coffee is served in a little tiny coffee cup about this size, and you think espresso is strong. And what you see people do in Puerto Rico is they'll be sitting there with these little cups of Puerto Rican coffee, and they'll have cane sugar, you know, not the granulated, but the kind of the rough, like sugar in the raw. And they'll be reading a paper or playing dominoes, doing this with a spoon. I mean, literally. And so the coffee is very sweet, but it doesn't matter how much sugar you put in it. It's strong. And then with milk, and they drink coffee pretty much all day long too. In fact, when I took Sharon to Puerto Rico, I think it was the only time where she said, "That's too strong," because it's strong. So all the kids drink it in the morning. I mean, they drink it with what they call galletas, which is a little kind of like an animal cracker. And that's their breakfast. They'll drink a little cup of coffee.
Is it kind of like wine in Italy, where they're watered down for the kids?
No, not really. They wire them up pretty good. It's pretty much full strength. But they grow up with it, you know. So that's probably when I started. I never really drank. When we got back home, I didn't drink a lot of coffee. My parents had a cup of coffee in the morning, and then if they were on break at the hospital, because they both worked at the same hospital, so they'd have lunch, they'd have a cup of coffee. My mom would probably have more than my dad, and then they'd come home, have dinner. And so I got in that habit of after dinner at a restaurant, what's the first thing you do? You get dessert and a cup of coffee. That's just, the way we did it. And so now I don't do so much coffee in the evening anymore, except this last week, just to test the different things that we were doing. But I would say 7. And then probably when I really got into coffee was when I got in the Air Force, because at Lackland Air Force Base and many other Air Force bases, they have these big urns of coffee, and they brewed their first pot of coffee in 1947. And it's the same coffee. They just keep adding to it. So, and I think that's probably where I got the taste for really dark roasts, because I know that that's part of what we're going to talk about is the difference in flavors between dark roast, French roast, Italian roast, and all that other stuff. How about you? Yes, the turbinado sugar. That was it.
Yeah. It was actually when I was working at Sears post-college, the first time around with college, and I worked with the guys that got there early in the morning that unloaded the trucks and stocked the floors and stuff. So we took break right when the store opened, and we would go to Nordstrom's that had a cafe at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was poor, and the soda costs, I think, like $1.25 or maybe $2.50, but a cup of coffee is like 50 cents.
Right.
So economically, I was like, listen, if I'm going to be coming here every morning, I'm going to switch to coffee to save money.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't enjoy it much. And I was a milk and sugar kind of guy originally with coffee, but that's when I started drinking the coffee, and then you get kind of used to it. Yeah.
Right.
So,
now, when did you get into more of the, I don't know, I guess the best way to put it is the more of the artisan style coffees? Has that been more recent?
Yeah. And I'm trying to remember if it was because of the diabetes or just before, because the first thing they said is cut out the milk and sweeteners in your coffee. And they said, just do it. And within a few days, you get used to it. And they were right. As long as you're drinking decent coffee, right? If you got nasty coffee, I don't think you could.
Well, it's amazing, and you were asking me earlier about coffee and cigars, and you and I have had this conversation before about tasting the different flavor notes in a cigar.
Yeah.
To me, the cigar and the coffee go hand in hand, meaning that, when you first start drinking coffee, it's a cup of Joe. Give me a black cup of Joe. Starbucks, I want a half calf latte, anti this, give me a break, give me a cup of coffee. Although, every once in a while having a 14,000 calorie
Starbucks on top.
Yeah, we'll get back to that in a minute with Robert F. Kennedy asking Starbucks, hey, let us see how many calories and how much sugar is in and one of their drinks, I think it's the caramel macchiato, 147 grams of sugar.
I believe it.
It's about like it's like this big. It's like full of this. So anyways,
well, so you also made, I don't know, a joke or comment or something earlier this week when and we'll talk that, you mentioned some of the things you use to brew coffee. I got one new thing to brew coffee, and I was talking about kind of the tech details about what I was doing. And you're like, basically enough is enough, right? We're just brewing coffee. Don't get too nerded out in this, right? Which I found with all this stuff behind me and the cigars and somewhat coffee is I nerd way down into it, do flavor notes, all this stuff, find what I like. And then after that, it's just, I know I like this. I don't like that. Well, back off on the nerdy stuff.
Right. And when I said that, it was, obviously it was a joke because here I am talking about a toffee latte, and stuff like that. And you remember when I first got this Breville, I was trying to figure out how to do latte art, which is, I'm sorry, latte art is like Nazism. It doesn't exist. It's all fake. It's all AI. Nobody knows how to do it.
That should be your retirement hobby. When you get rid of the barber shop, I want to see some damn latte art.
Ain't gonna happen. Well, you see, I've had this thing for 3 years now, and I still can't do it.
Tried. Yeah.
But no, I agree with you. It's just that it's like, people that nerd out about honing straight razors. When it really comes down to it, you're rubbing steel on a rock, and coffee can be very similar. You're extracting the flavors out of the grounds with the hot water. Although, I kind of contradict myself because I'm saying, okay, in this coffee, you can taste chocolate, you can taste blueberry, you can taste this, you can taste that. So, it's more of a joke than anything else. The one thing that I've never done, and I've never gotten to that nerd level, is when I'm measuring out a certain number of ounces of water, a certain number of grams of coffee, weighing it.
Oh, really?
And that's where, I just.
When you use your Breville, how do you measure? I mean, because that's doing shots, right?
Right. It's doing espresso shots. Yeah. Well, in this Breville, you press a button and it grinds the coffee. And then and then when it's done grinding it based on the grind setting between 1 and 35, you hit the tamper and a green light comes across and you're done.
So when you first got it, did you just go with like a preset, or did you actually like say the grind fineness? Did you try it on 10 and try it on 20 and see what you like better? Well, there you go. That's kind of
yeah. So I mean, because the thing is, you want the pressure in a espresso machine to be, between 9 and 12 bars, and that you have to adjust by the grind size and stuff like that. So when we stopped using this for a little while, and I brewed some coffee the other day, it never got above the pre-infusion level. So it was a little bit bitter, but then I dialed down the grinds, and now it's perfect. It's back to where it should be.
That's kind of nerdy.
Oh, it is nerdy, but I allow the machine to be the nerdiness. It's the AI port, because if I do like coffee in a drip machine, people say how many scoops. I don't know. I just fill it
some.
Some, because like when I go to work and I do it out of a percolator, which will argue that I think that's the best coffee tasting ever. I just look at the basket and say, okay, I'm going to put a scoop there, a scoop there, a scoop there, fill it up with water, and done. So, I never get into the thing. Now, I wouldn't mind having an electric kettle, but the percolator that was given to me is an electric percolator. So I just plug it in. So that kind of acts the same way. Because if I don't feel like coffee, I've got tea. I've got some Swiss tea and stuff like that I can do tea at the office too.
Yeah. So let me ask you this then. You say the percolator makes your favorite tasting coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you use it at home too?
Because that means I'd have to put it in my car and bring it home every night.
No, how much does a percolator cost?
Well, I don't know about the electric one. We did buy for the motorhome. We bought the old-fashioned camp coffee percolator. The one that you stick on top of the stove.
All right.
It's up or on the fire, and that's pretty good. But that, and I think a lot of it's convenience. I mean, now that I'm using the Breville more, it's a little bit, but I fell into the Keurig trap, and the Keurig trap's real easy. Cup, thing, press down, press a button. Now, I since we're getting into it now, what I did for mine is I put, because I don't own a pour over. I've had a pour over before, but I don't own one. So what I did is I went from 7 to 1 as to which is the worst and which is the best. And the funny thing is the Keurig, the K-Cup, is the worst, and it's also number 4. And I'll explain why once we get into that. Now let's talk about roasts. Medium roast, and I never used to be this way. In fact, when Sharon and I first started drinking coffee together, she would drink a cup of coffee and I'd drink it and say, whoa, that's just too strong. Now it's the exact opposite. She likes kind of a dark to medium roast or medium to dark roast. I want it dark. I mean, bold and kicky in the face type stuff. In fact, there was and pardon me, YouTube, I'm going to use a bad word, but there was a coffee that was a bag of coffee, and the company is called, it's called Shut the Fuck Up or something like that. And it's like black. But I've noticed that I like the darker roast, the Italian roast, the French roasts and stuff like that. But you like more of a medium blend, correct?
I do. And I we can say this is like everything else, right? Drink what you like. So if you watch all the coffee nerds on YouTube, they're going to say, well, you don't get the flavor notes with the dark roast. But if you like the flavor dark roast gets you, then that's what you like. So,
it's funny because doing research for the show and how this all started, how this idea came about is I had posted something about, percolated coffee is the best, prove me wrong, and I got jumped on by everybody. So I figured, hey, this would be a good idea. And I did start looking at different coffees, and like Chad, one of our buddies, he has his own coffee roasting that he does, and he does Peruvian, I think he does Argentinian, and then we have a company here called help me out, Tig Lily. Raging Sage. I think I sent you some of that one time. And it can be medium to dark. But if you look at the flavor notes, I mean, there's a lot of fruit flavors in there. But I think with the darker roast, you get more of the chocolates, more of the roasted nuts, stuff like that. And I just like the boldness of a strong cup of coffee. Now I would say as a caveat to that is that I have a tendency to sometimes use half and half more than you do. I mean, I'll drink a black cup of coffee. Like I usually in the morning, it's a black cup of coffee, and then I doctor it up a little bit. So I think that, yeah, I like darker roasts, but at the same time, the
Yeah.
cream smooths
knocking
it
it
out.
down a little.
Yeah. A lot.
Well, and to tell folks, if you want to go back and watch it, one of the very first shows we did, we had my coffee roaster on the show because he talked about his business and what he did and all this stuff. And because he roasts to order, and I was nerding out on finding this kind of at the beginning of my journey, or finding out what I liked. I've got the same bean in a light, medium, dark roast and brewed them all the same way and narrowed that
and
down.
That's the Nurse Dave's blend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't remember what bean I used, but yeah, the Nurse Dave blend comes in medium.
Right.
But what I found is I don't like citrus notes. I don't like the tangy stuff, and the lighter you go, the more of that comes out.
Right.
So that's why I don't like a light roast, and then I don't enjoy the dark, really bold flavor. So that's where you hit that medium.
Well, and I think a lot of I think there's components, and I think he mentioned that in the show. There's components of the roast. So if you do a medium roast, but you brew it incorrectly, it's still going to taste like shit. If you have a dark roast and you brew it incorrectly, it's going to taste like crap or going to taste like burnt. And I noticed this recently with my Breville machine is that, you know, the one thing that I can't stand, no matter what the coffee roast is, if it's bitter, it goes in the sink.
Yeah. Well, and that's where you got to be a little bit nerdy. And I'll go back to shaving with this, right? Is that I always feel bad for people that are starting to shave, because if you've never used a safety razor, that takes some practice. And until you've learned how to use it, you don't know if you're doing it wrong, or you're using a blade that doesn't work for you, or that razor just doesn't work for you. There's so many variations, right?
Right.
And same with coffee. Like what you're mentioning is you could buy a coffee and it tastes bitter, and you don't know that because you're using the wrong water to bean ratio. And unless you kind of learn what works for you, but yeah.
I think what Don Quixote is the name you're looking for, is the name you're searching for. Don Quixote.
think, isn't it the guy riding the burro?
Yeah.
What's Don Quixote's There's a
was
trivia question. What's the Don Quixote's burro's name?
I don't know, but there's another famous guy that wrote a burro, Jesus Christ, but that's a different story.
No, didn't his wife
I
write
think
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that, okay, so I say I'm not nerdy about coffee, but if we're talking notes and we're talking how you brew it and stuff like that, I think for me, coffee has become, unless I use the espresso machine, it's become convenience. You know, so you get up, you're groggy, you're trying to make it, you know, down the hallway, you have a cup of coffee and then off you go. But I think that because, you know, like the big debate going on right now is which is better as far as store-bought coffees. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say store-bought coffees, but coffees that you go to like Starbucks or oh God, what's the name of the other one? Dutch Brothers. I don't know if you guys have Dutch Brothers.
Dutch Bros. Oh, the kids love that because they serve almost anything but coffee.
Right. But the thing is, you know, when you think about it, the cost of a coffee at Starbucks. What's this?
I just got it. It's Don Key. The bro's name is Don Key. Okay, that was all right. Funny.
All right.
Funny.
Coffee liqueur. Oh, there's PB. Yeah, he's been lurking. I like coffee liqueurs like Kahlua. I like Kahlua. And I like Stoke as far as a cold brew coffee.
Yeah.
What
were you talking about?
I don't remember now.
Convenience.
Oh, yeah.
It's true that, you know, because I fell into the same thing. So at work, when I got fancy and started doing like almost a pour over at work and stuff, I had a Keurig on my desk and I put it out for general use. And then I hit a period of time of like some mornings you don't feel like going there. And because now I went back to my roots, Dave. I have a scale at work. I weigh out my beans. I have a hand grinder. I use all the thing. But boy, it's easy to hit that button and have your cup of coffee. And I'm drinking it going, this is not that good. But boy, was it easy.
Well, and I think, you bring up a good point, especially, see you later, Eric. I think the problem with the Keurig cups is if you buy them through a store, you buy them through Amazon or whatever the case may be, you have no idea how long that coffee has been sitting in the warehouse. And I didn't realize this until we had the gentleman on, that coffee's got a shelf life, and you want to get it while it's oily and it's good and everything else. So, we still have, we still buy the signature roast. And the reason why we buy the Keurig cups in the bulk, 122 K cups is because we'll go through that in a week. Well, I won't, but somebody else will.
Oh, wait, I thought somebody else brewed a whole pot. They did the whole just normal coffee machine coffee.
Well, again, convenience. I've got a beautiful, right over there, thanks to you, as a matter of fact, a Cuisinart, the same model that you had sitting over there. And right now, I think there's, I don't know,
quarter inch of dust on it.
Yeah, because it doesn't get used anymore. Because again,
Really?
the convenience of going and plopping a pot in and hitting go. But and you'll see this when I rank my coffee methods, that if you actually grind your own and put it in the Keurig cup, you can do, then it can be good.
That's pretty good.
Then it can be good. Yeah, it's actually pretty good that way. So,
do you judge people that buy their coffee at a gas station?
No, not at all.
You know what? I used to work across the street from a Quickie Mart thing. They had pretty decent coffee.
Well, have you been in
there?
Well, have you been in, because before you'd go in and there'd be this glass pot and this big, machine, and the coffee had been sitting there for whatever. But now you have a bank of machines that has a grinder on it.
Oh,
and you pick whichever. Yeah. And Circle K's got it. QT's got it. I think some of the other convenience stores have it. Is the coffee is in the hopper and you pick which coffee you want. You pick and it grinds it and brews it right there. So
I have not seen that, but I would argue almost any gas station, McDonald's, all that coffee is better than most the Keurig stuff I've had from the pre-bought pots.
Yeah, I mean, unless you buy the specialty ones, and if you buy the specialty ones, like let's say Seattle's Best or Pike's, or if you buy Pete's, you're going to spend $60 on a box. So. I think it all comes down to the convenience, because I prefer to buy all my coffee whole bean and grind it myself. But then you get into time, and where, you just take a pod and throw it in there and you're good to go. It just depends on what experience I think you want at that time.
Yeah.
So real quick, I'll go through mine and then you can go through yours. So, and I only have 7, and I want to talk to you more about pour over down the road, because I don't have one. I want to buy one, because to me, when I look at a pour over, they're $40 and you get the filter, and it just seems almost overly simple, as far as that goes. So I want to talk about that. So for me, I went from 7 to 1. Number 7 was K-Cup store-bought, mostly bitter. However, it's very convenient. But you need to buy a quality coffee if you're going to do that on a daily basis. That's why it's the least favorite. The second, number 6 would be the drip coffee maker. It's the old standby. It's been around since the days of Mr. Coffee. But again, it depends on the quality of the grinds. And that's what I think you're going to see with my stuff, is that's the common denominator. It all depends on the grind. My 5th is a French press. Great quality, but kind of labor intensive. For a good cup of coffee, the quality of the coffee, but cleanup can be a thing. And I think if you're going to sit down and have a nice breakfast and share that with your spouse, and you brew the coffee with the French press, and you have the French press there, and you've got some croissant, I guess that's okay. My number 4th is the self-ground K-Cup. Those can be good. Again, they're convenient, easy cleanup, quick of using filtered water. Now that's the key. And that's an argument that me and Sharon got into, is I just we've got this big hopper that I just pour water in from the sink, and no, she filters her water and stuff like that before she puts it even in the K-Cup.
So the question
and
is,
it has a filter, so it's like double filtered.
for like quote health needs, or she's noticed a flavor difference? I'm curious.
She
Put it in
notices
the
a flavor
chat.
difference. Yeah, she
Okay.
notices a flavor of, well, plus our groundwater is not as good as it
There you
used
go.
to be, but that's part of it. My number 3 is the AeroPress. I think it's great for office use because it's just quick and easy. Camping, it's a good thing if you're going to do 1 cup of coffee for yourself. Easy to store, but then you got to deal with the filters and the cleanup. I know you can wipe it out with a paper towel, but if you're making coffee for somebody, it's a pain in the butt. I mean, if it's just for you,
Oh,
yeah,
you
boom.
can, yeah.
Yeah, you can't beat it. My number 2, and this is going to surprise you, is percolated. I think it's the most nostalgic because I remember as a kid, I would sit there and stare at the percolator, and we had one of those Corningware percolators that had the blue, whatever the blue flowers were on it, and I'd watch the coffee blipping up through the glass, and it was just cool, and you could smell it through the house. And in doing some research, it seems that most people agree that percolated coffee extracts the best number of oils, and it gives the best mouthfeel.
Okay.
It gives more of a thicker mouthfeel. Now, the bad part about percolated coffee is if you're not careful, you're chewing it towards the end. I mean, you've got grounds in there. So there's no filters really other than the basket that the coffee's in. Also, if you like a steaming hot cup of coffee, nothing keeps a coffee pot nothing keeps the coffee hotter than a percolator. Nothing. But it can burn easier. So that's my second favorite. And the first, obviously, is the Breville. For espresso drinks, a variety of other drinks. They have self-grind and tampers, best overall flavor options, and you got steam milk. How can you beat steam milk? And I know that you have a completely automated espresso machine.
Yeah, they call them super automatics.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll
now,
talk
do you
about
still
that.
do you still use it? You haven't used it in a while.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I'm curious. I want Rich to answer. Is this what he drinks? Does he just do
Maxwell
now?
House?
This is not an instant coffee, right? This is just a pre-ground, throw it in the filter and use the machine. Yeah.
A drip one.
Yeah.
Well, Sharon for years was using Folgers, and I think Folgers to me is the Budweiser of coffee. Horrible. Well, but
Yeah. So, boy, we haven't had normal coffee machine coffee for forever. So I guess the worst coffee I would drink now is a Keurig. And
now, is that self roasted or the ones from the store?
No. I've never tried filling the pods myself.
Oh, okay.
This seemed kind of like too fidgety.
Right.
Yeah. And then you mentioned the French press. Now, so see, here's one of the experiments I did when I was seeing what I liked is I tried a metal filter and a paper filter. And so this plays into some of the things you talked about is I like paper filtered coffee better. It filters out some of the oils, and I don't like those. And that's what you like about the percolate is you get all the oils and the thickness and all that stuff. So, and the cleanup was just a bitch to me with the French press.
Yeah.
Where you pull it out and you still got grounds over the whole thing and all that stuff. So we have one. I used it a few times, didn't like it. It just sits there. What would be next after that? It might be the super automatic, which is the big machine. You fill a hopper. It's got the screen where you hit what kind of drinks you want and stuff like that. I use it to make basically an Americano. It's called a barista, and so it does even more water.
But it steams the milk for you, right? You don't have to actually do the milk steaming yourself, correct?
If you're using milk, yeah, you put in a container and it's got a little hose, and then it will shoot coffee out, and then the milk foam out.
Oh, okay.
That stuff. But usually I don't. I just use the coffee
side
of things. So that's what I'll use at home for the convenience. Is if I just want to hit a button and get something and make an Americano out of that, and that's what I'll have in the morning. And then at work, I use the AeroPress or have used it for what you said. It's super easy. The cleanup, you just push the whole, it's got a plunger. So you take off the filter, you push all the grounds and everything out, bang the filter on the waste basket and use a paper towel and you're done. Because we don't have a sink in the office. So it doesn't need a sink. And then pour over to me is the best. And so we've got the single cone pour over, and then what, the Chemex, which is kind of the big, huge,
That's the one I was going to talk. Yeah.
hourglass looking thing, right? And so it's a little bit of a pain because we don't have a coffee machine anymore. So if we have people over for the holidays and stuff, then it becomes, well, you got to make coffee for like 8 people. What are you doing?
Right.
So I'll use that because you can make a larger volume and pour the first batch into a thermos to keep it hot, and then do a second batch. And then after that.
Okay. Well, let me ask you a question. So about the Chemex, because I know that's what you had for. So I hear, and I've read, and I've seen things on YouTube where for a pour over, you measure your coffee, you measure this, and then you're pouring the grounds over, then you stop, and then you pour over some more. Or is that just overcomplicating it? I mean, to me, it seems pretty basic. Filter, coffee, pour.
All right. If you want to get full, so first of all, usually it won't hold as much water as you're going to brew with. So if you fill it all the way up, you still got more water you need to pour in there. So you got to wait for it to go down.
Okay.
The other thing that you try to do is, the intent is you keep it kind of full of water so the grounds are floating around in the water like a AeroPress. And so if you don't keep it full and let it start going down, instead of so the right way to do it is you kind of agitate it as the water is going down. So if it's perfect, when the water drains all the way out, your bed of coffee is flat.
Okay.
If you just pour water and don't do anything, it's going to drain faster in the middle, and it's going to end up like a cone like that. And then the water's going just through this much grounds instead of that much grounds, basically.
So in other words, in a way, it's almost like a manual percolator, because a percolator obviously rotates the water up through the grounds, up through the grounds, up through the grounds, and that's the percolation method. So it's an even distribution of coffee. So in a way, it's almost, because I know that, and I think what happens with a percolator, because of the steam component, because the water heats up on the bottom almost to boiling, just short of boiling, so that creates steam. Well, the steam gets drawn up through that tube and it percolates through the coffee, and it's a longer process. Obviously, I mean, it can take 10 minutes to get a.
Well, that also changes the flavor, because when you do pour over, you're not using boiling water. Our kettle heats it to like 206 degrees for a pour over. And so I think you get a stronger flavor using the almost boiling like you like.
Right. And what I do notice though is it does keep, I mean, with a lot, like with the Breville or with the Keurig, you can take a swig of coffee right after brewing it. With a percolator, you got to let that sit for a while because it's like lava. It's very, very hot.
Yeah.
So, well, let me ask you this. So that's the Chemex pour over, but I know you got that new one, and it's almost like a hybrid, right?
Yeah, I just got this thing called the hoop, and the best way to describe it is a big circle with a smaller circle in the middle with little tiny holes on it. So you put your grounds in the small hole in the middle, and you put all your water around it. And because the holes are so small, it just lets a certain amount of water in at the same time.
So it's infusing it. Okay, I see what you're saying.
So my whole thought was, would that be better for work? I'm still up in the air with it. It's a little bit more cleanup, the flavor. So I tested that against the smaller pour over I have at home. The taste was almost identical.
Okay.
So I don't know the reason to use that. I'm curious though. There's some talk about egg yolks going on here.
Yeah, I saw that. I was not sure. I always thought it was odd. He dropped the egg in, and then the shell, and it was an old cowboy coffee pot. So it's a percolator, obviously.
Let's see. Here we go. Scoutmaster pour boiled coffee and then put an egg in it. And then so let's see. There's so you drop the egg in and then the shell. And then the egg pulls the grounds to the bottom.
Oh,
and the
okay.
shell reduces the harshness. Oh, I guess because cowboy coffee is just a pot of water with coffee in it, right?
Exactly.
So you need to get the grounds out of it unless.
Yeah, because there's no filter. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess the viscosity of the egg would create that attraction
to stick to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I know PB also said earlier, now I've never tried it, and I keep telling myself to order some, is from a shaving company that's one of our sponsors over at the Cadre, Sterling.
Yeah.
He does coffee, and I hear it's very, very good. I've
His
never had it.
breakfast blend is I've had this breakfast blend. That's pretty good. Yeah.
Is it? And Chad's coffee is pretty good too. I know he's not doing it that much anymore right now, but
Yeah. You know, but
so
that's the tough part is getting if you get nerdy into coffee, you're not buying bulk produced stuff off the shelf, right? You're going with a smaller roaster who's
Right.
getting it from this one field in Colombia, wherever. You know, what are the chances are you're going to be able to get that again? So, right. So,
Good
like
point.
trying to figure out what you like and then being able to repurchase the same thing. If you get too deep into it, seems like that's kind of a
Well, we that company I was telling you about, Raging Sage, we have to, because we were buying it like 1 to 2 pounds at a time. The blend, I can't remember the blend. Take Lily, put the blend in here if you wouldn't mind. But we've found now that we have to call them like a week in advance if we want to get like 3 to 5 pounds, because they have to roast it for us, which in a way is kind of cool, but it's just, it's driving all the way into town to get it. And I think the nerdiness of coffee depends on how convenient you want it to be. I mean, really, when you think about it. Now, there are more and more grocery stores that are starting to carry obscure coffee roasters. And then there's some, at least we've got a couple of where you can grind your own, but who knows how long those beans have been in there,
There you go. You need to add a percolator to your Jeep.
Yep. But see, it's funny. Like I said, I drink a cup in the morning, a cup when I get to the shop, and that's pretty much it.
So at your percolator, you only drink 1 cup of coffee out of that?
Well, I mean, it's a mug, so it's actually 2.5 cups. Yeah, I mean, but I can adjust it from 1 cup all the way up to 8 cups. And I used to go ahead and fill it up every morning and then offer my clients coffee when they come in, but nobody was drinking it.
Really?
Yeah,
because it's 110 degrees there, Dave.
And actually, Tig Lily, I don't think it's Peruvian organic. It was something else. At Raging Sage.
That's another weird thought is you drink coffee year round, right? Even when it is 120 degrees outside.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like if we go to have a bite to eat at a restaurant, and we sit outside and swelter outside. It's so funny because I'll order a Coke or a water or something like that. Sharon will look at the waitress and say, "Is your coffee fresh?" And they look at her like she's got a worm growing out of her head. It's like
we have to brew it just for you.
Yeah, but actually, that's smart when you think about it, because she knows she's going to get fresh coffee every time. Because usually that's what they'll say. It's like, "Oh, well, we haven't. I'll brew you a pot," and that happens.
Yeah. Now, PB a while back asked about coffee liquors, but do you like any liquor in your coffee? Have you ever done that?
We went through a phase where we were doing Irish coffees, Irish whiskey and stuff, but no, not really.
Now,
to
an
me,
Irish
what I found,
coffee, that is what?
It's Irish whiskey
and
coffee
sugar.
and sugar, and then you top with
whipped cream.
Yeah. And I'm just In fact, there's a video that you can see where this guy, he's got like 24 glasses.
He's in San Francisco, that guy.
Oh, is he?
He's
Okay.
never been there. Yeah.
Now I would do that.
Try that.
I would do that. I mean, that would be fun to check out. PB says Starbucks used to make a great Kona blend when they were known for coffee and not milkshakes. Good point. Well, and to me, I've heard that, everybody always talks about Kona coffee from Hawaii being among the best, or Jamaican Blue Mountain. I don't have that much of a palate to really know the difference, but one of my clients did go to Kauai and brought us some Kauai coffee. And there was a distinct difference between Kona coffee and Kauai. I thought it was delicious.
We bought Jamaican Blue once from the roaster Burke's Beans that we had on our show.
Right.
I was like, for the price, I don't even know if it was better than what we normally get. I wasn't into that. This is interesting because I've tried just pouring rum into coffee or tequila, and it just to me that I want straight either coffee or
now in the winter months, a little bit of Bailey's And coffee is not bad.
Okay. Well, then you're adding sugar, and it sweetens it up, and it would be
And
probably
Kahlua tastes good in coffee. It's not
yeah.
bad. Um,
The other thing though is that like shaving to us and everybody on the cadre and all that stuff isn't just removing whiskers, right? It's a hobby. It's a process. It takes the time. And all
well,
that stuff.
it used to be for me.
Well, now that you use the same soap for what are you on 40 days or something?
40 days. In fact, today I was so depressed I decided to do a speed shave. So I did a 3-pass DE shave in under 3 minutes. I mean, I'm just trying to come up with, and the puck is not going away. So to me, that would be like having the same like Folgers every day, all the time, every day.
It's utilitarian, right? If you just buy the same coffee, use your coffee, which is what 95% of the people probably do. But I was thinking, like, you see these fancy machines and stuff, right? There's the ones that's on the Bucket List movie, right? Where isn't that where he's got the weights or something like that? And there's some kind of siphon system where it's just like, that would be a fun thing in the morning on a weekend, right? You set up this whole thing, you watch it go and all that stuff. So I've stopped myself from buying any of those so far. But all those siphon things and all that stuff just looks so cool.
Well, and what you and I used to do this on the cadre almost on a weekend basis. You would do it on Sunday, I do it on Monday, where you'd have some eggs and an English muffin and a cup of coffee. And we've stopped doing that. And I don't know why, but convenience, I guess. Now this is not coffee related, but we're having a debate in the household. Have you ever done like a soft scrambled egg with cream cheese?
Very rarely, but I should do it more because it's delicious. I love it. It is.
Okay, because we're having a debate on that.
You're having a debate if it's good or not?
Well, yeah, because the thing is, there was a commercial on TV about adding cream cheese to everything. And I said, you know what? Cream cheese and eggs mixed up would be great. Now, I've never completed a true soft scramble, where it kind of looks kind of liquidy, but not quite.
Yeah, I got to do more than that.
Yeah. But see, I was
thinking of the uncooked whites in there.
Oh, that's true. But I always get to the point where they're like granular, it's like overcooked. And so we usually like over medium, because I like the yolk.
Yeah. What looks delicious, but looks like a pain in the ass and not worth the payoff is when you get the soft boiled eggs and then they put it in that little egg cup. And then they got that fancy little thing that pops the top off. And then you have a little triangle of toast that you're dipping in. But you would need like 5 of those for breakfast, right? If you're going to actually you have one and then what?
But see, that's when you're eating it. You have to stick your pinky out, because to me,
in your teacup.
Yeah, I see that little cup with a little egg and a little bit. Screw that! Take it and dump it in the plate. Because when I put toast, in a yolk, it's all over the place.
You're scooping it in. Yeah,
exactly. Like we had breakfast for dinner last night, and we had eggs, chicken fried steak, and grilled Brussels sprouts of all things, and it was delicious.
Yeah. Now, you've seen my breakfast that I post. Like you said, I used to take pictures of it. But I'm the only one in my family that really loves it. And I'm jealous of you. If I could have scrambled eggs and stuff for dinner,
you guys don't do breakfast for dinner ever?
No.
Oh, you got to start. It's wonderful.
Well, but my wife doesn't. She's not an egg person. None of the kids were egg persons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's like
I didn't read this, but it's PB.
Boursin, garlic, and herb cheese and eggs on a Thomas English muffin. Wow.
Oh.
That's definitely pinky worthy.
Oh, what's good after a wine and cheese night that I forget very often is the leftover brie in scrambled eggs. That's kind of along the lines of your cream cheese.
I've got some in there.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to try that. I'm going to have to try that.
Yeah, just some chunks in there and it softens up. And
no, I would eat eggs every day. I mean, I love eggs, over medium. When I was a kid, my mom would make, do you know what a fried egg is? It's so unhealthy, but what you do is you take oil, whatever oil, and you put the oil in the pan very light, and then you heat that up to just French fry temperature, and then you dump the egg in there, and you don't turn the egg at all, so the egg whites turn nice and the edges are crispy. Yes, we're on food again, Rich, but coffee is a food, I guess you could argue. I know Tig Lily would say that it's a food group. So is the pour over, because we kind of got off the track. So is that your favorite way to have
the best tasting coffee that I
is
make?
Pour over? Is pour over?
Yes. Yep.
And how long does it, like a standard pour over? Not well, I assume the pour over is just obviously based on gravity,
couple minutes.
Okay.
It's not long, but you do. I mean, you've got to heat up the water, and you do it on a scale because you have to pour a certain amount of water. And
okay, you can't just like.
Well, you could. I mean, you do what you want, right? I mean, true. like you said, when you make it in a coffee machine and you're scooping, one pot is not going to be like the next pot, and if it's close enough, and that's all you need. Now,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Have you had a fried egg sandwich?
Oh. I grew up on those. Those are the best.
And it's got to be learn about those till high school, and just some mayonnaise and lettuce, crunchy lettuce, and a hot egg. Holy moly! Those are
try it with some American cheese on top of it. It's fantastic. But eggs in a basket. Okay, we call it egg con pan. And what you do is you take a piece of bread, you put a hole in the center of it, and then
Pirate Patch.
Yeah, whatever you want. I mean, they've got all those and they're so easy to make. They're so easy to make, and that's what you ought to do is do that for Pantea one night. Get some.
Well, you know who I did it for was the kids, and now my daughter still from time to time says, "Will you make me one of those pirate eggs?" Because I got it from my grandma. She used to make those.
Well, eggs. I mean, and I don't know if you've ever had them before. Have you ever had Scotch eggs?
Yeah. What do you think? They sound so good and they look good, but they don't taste enough like egg to me.
Well, just reduce the amount of sausage that you put around.
I never made one.
Oh, they're really easy to make. We did a chorizo version of those, so they're spicy and they were really, really good.
So you hard boil an egg and then put the sausage or whatever around it, and then you roll it in breadcrumbs.
Yep, you roll it in breadcrumbs. You don't have to, but you can, and then put it in a pan. And then we get them at the Renaissance Festival.
Yeah.
When we go up there, you get a turkey leg and a Scotch egg and then go to see your cardiologist.
Yeah. And a meat pie. Got to get the meat pie at the Renaissance. Yeah.
But yeah, fried egg your dad just said a fried egg sandwich and there's something so it's comforting to have a fried egg sandwich. Because sometimes if you don't know what you want to eat, you look through the refrigerator and you go, bread, egg, lettuce, cheese. Fried egg sandwich. It's perfect.
But the lettuce has to be crunchy. I like the contrast between the warm egg and the cold crunchy lettuce. It just makes it enjoyable to chew.
So is there any type of coffee? I mean, do you ever frequent Starbucks or Dutch Brothers or anything like that?
Try not to. The only time I do is we stop at, I think, Pete's. No, Starbucks, one of those two, on the way to Napa. Because we leave kind of around breakfast time, and to get my wife her coffee.
Isn't Pete's San Francisco, or is it Seattle?
Pete's Starbucks is Seattle. Pete's might be Portland. It's West Coast though somewhere. Yeah.
But your dad just put something on here that I'm intrigued. Baked eggs with Parmesan and heavy cream. So you've had this.
He made it around Christmas time when we were up there, and it's made like in a cupcake tin, so they're individual. Okay. And I might get this wrong, but I think he puts the heavy cream in there with the egg and the cheese and bakes it in the oven.
Oh, cool. So it's kind of like those egg bites that you can get.
Good.
Oh, that sounds really good. Sounds like really good.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So, and the thing is with coffee is you can, in Sharon's case, we have enchiladas, she's got coffee. We have a burger, she has coffee. To me, coffee is with breakfast. You got to have it with breakfast.
And I can't do coffee with you guys are spice. You can handle spice. Any little bit of spice and coffee to me don't mix at all either.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if I put a little hot sauce on my eggs, I can't be drinking my coffee with the eggs at that point.
Okay.
It bites the tongue.
because your dad mentioned something earlier about Mexican coffee. I think it's called Olia, where it's got a little bit of cinnamon in it. That's really good. And then PB's talking about Caribou coffee, and actually that's one of Sharon's favorite. If it's the Caribou Coffee Company, Sharon loves it. Pete's is San Francisco. Okay. Starbucks was a spin-off of Pete's? Wow, I did not know that. That's interesting. I did not know that.
The more you know.
The more, see, that's what we need to get, that graphic that has a little star that goes, the more you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, so the thing is, I think what we've proved is even though our tastes are a little bit different as far as coffee types and grinds, at the end of the day, really, we've got more alike in our coffee likes than not. And I do need, so if I was to get a pour over, which I've got everything else. If I was to get a pour over, is the Chemex versus what you got, the new one, which one do you like better? Or
I wouldn't get the new thing I got. The Chemex is the big one. You know what the V60 is? Look, it's the single cup. That's what I usually use if it's for me. I only pour the Chemex out if I need more than one cup.
Now, does Pantea drink a lot of coffee?
She drinks one every day. Otherwise, she gets the headache. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. But at home, she won't do all the pour over and all that stuff. So if she's awake when I'm up making my coffee, I'll ask if she wants it, use the Chemex for the bigger amount. Otherwise, she just uses the machine.
Yeah, and gets whatever. Because the thing is, your machine, it's got like a menu of different ones that you can have, right?
Yeah.
Which is cool, because the Breville, it's just espresso, you know, and then you make it yourself. However you want.
Well, then that's what I was gonna get, but she said too much work. And it is. I mean, it's a little bit more.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not that bad. I mean, like I said, the fact that it's got a built-in tamper helps, because what I do now is we've got this thing. So I will, hey, Pantea. Yeah. So I'll take this. I don't know if you can even see it. And then once it grinds, then I'll mix it up and then I'll re-tamp it. And I don't know.
Now, so on the nerd scale of coffee, we're at the basic end, you and I, because the people that get into espresso, oh my, like the thing you just showed to make sure that everything's, and you've seen it, you can get tamper things that spend for hundreds of dollars and coffee grinders that are thousands of dollars. And there's
exactly.
Boy, you got to really want your coffee to be super specific to, but again, it's just a hobby, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's like anything else. Drink your coffee the way you want, shave the way you want. Like I had a guy on my channel today that was upset that I put the aftershave balm before the aftershave splash.
Oh, well, that's wrong, Dave.
Well, yeah, correct. It's like, and it's like, well, first of all, the aftershave balm emulsifies into your skin. And since I'm doing the Williams challenge, I'm using the Aqua Velva as an EDT, because I'm not using an EDT. So
look, I will share, because I was going to say that also, like a lot of things, people that aren't looking to find other ways to brew coffee might not know about some of these things. And so it might be worth a shot, that if you're just curious on your weekend, if your coffee might be more enjoyable, some of these things are not expensive to do. But one of the things that I found in watching videos and stuff is you get more flavor out of your coffee not drinking it piping hot. And I think a lot of people that aren't into it just want hot. I want my coffee hot.
Right.
But if you let it cool down a little bit and then try it, the flavor is just like boom.
Exactly. Well, and I think sometimes iced coffee is a totally different experience. You know, it really is. I mean, it just there's something about iced coffee in the summer that's absolutely fantastic, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, like I said, I'm like you, I drink 2 cups of coffee pretty much every day, but every once in a while I'll have, like if we go to a restaurant and we're having dessert, for some reason, the dessert with a cup of coffee just tastes wonderful, you know? So it just depends on what you have. But anyhow, I think that we've answered all the coffee questions on the planet.
Perfect.
So anyways, so from now on until November, the show will be on at 5 p.m. Pacific, which is
Well,
actually
but
5
the
p.m. my
same-
time too.
The same time has been on for all these folks in the. Yeah.
But it's later. Technically, it's later for some of them.
Only if they live in Arizona or earlier.
Yeah.
It's earlier.
No, it's
the
earlier.
same for everybody
Earlier.
else.
Yeah, it's earlier. It's earlier. In fact, I can still see the sun. So,
Oh.
but I can see the sun. And I see one of these days we'll have to have an expert on daylight savings time on as the show. I mean, I want to have somebody from the national because why? Because I know that they're in Congress right now. They're arguing. Well, after all this other crap gets over with, they've been arguing about not having not having daylight savings time. We can't do oysters. We can't do. I mean, I would love to do oysters, PB, but we can't. Because if we started doing oysters on TV, the next thing you would hear is you'd hear
911 on
ambulances. Yeah. So, anyhow, folks, well, thank you for joining us at 5 p.m. Same as it's always been. Oh, Pantea likes oysters. Okay.
Yeah.
So when we come over there in June, you need to find a restaurant where we can have oysters, and then you can have whatever. You can have French fries.
Plenty of them around. Yeah.
So, all right, Senor, that sounds good. Well, folks, we'll see you again next week at 5 p.m. Pacific. Say goodnight, Dave.
Good night, Dave.
Take care, everybody.